How to find the leading coefficient. In the past, you all been able to tell the leading coefficient. What's some of the keys you've been able to tell the leading coefficient by? I can't hear you. Excuse me? Roots. All right. Now, if you had a polynomial, listen up. If they gave you a polynomial like 6x to the third power plus 4x to the sixth power and let's say plus 2x to the second power. And now, if I ask you what was the leading coefficient, what would you say?
6.
You would say, no.
You said the leading coefficient.
Yeah, what would be my leading coefficient?
2.
That's right, 4, because this is my leading coefficient. If we put them in descending order, it would be what? 4x to the what? 6 plus what? 6x to the what? Third plus 2x to the square. Okay, now, so this would be my leading coefficient. All right, now, look at the problem that we have here. We're giving you two of the factors, we're giving in these different terms. You do not have your leading coefficient. How do we get there? That's the question. All right, how do we get there? We got to be able to determine that. First thing I need for you to do. This has what? This is x plus 2 to the second power, correct? Yes, sir. This is x minus 1, and then basically just what? 1, right? And this is 2x plus 2 plus 1 to the second power. Now, let's determine our leading coefficient. All right? First thing I need you to do is just take this 2, and we're going to write it down as x to the what? Second. All right? X to the second. Then we're going to have what? We're going to have just 1. We're going to just imagine a 1 here, so then we'll have what? 1. And then right here, let's change this to a 3. Let's change that to a 3. All right? Now, so right here we have what? We're going to have 2x to the what? Third. Now, how can we figure this out? Now, let's go ahead and solve it up. First thing about it, if we had numbers here, we multiply the numbers, then we add the what? Exponents. Correct? Multiply the numbers, add the exponent. So let's break it down a little further. This is not just 2x to the third power, but let's simplify that. What do that give us? What do that give us? Say it again, because 2 times x times 2 times x times 2 times x. What do that give us? That give us what? 4x. No. All right, 4x what? Square times what? 2x give us what? 8x to the what? To the third. All right? Good job. So now we have what? Our leading coefficient of this whole polynomial up here would be, we have this now becomes 8x to the third. So now when we multiply up, my leading coefficient would be 8x. Now how many x's do I have? 2, 3, and what? 4. And 3 more will be what? 6. It will be 6. So that being said, my leading coefficient is 8x to the 6th power. All right? Question. Let me go back through it one more time. First thing I did was, in these terms, each one of these terms, I took my exponent and I multiplied it to my what? My x, which gave me x to the square, x squared. I have an imaginary 1 here, and this x will represent 1. Here I have 3, and I multiply that gives me 2x to the third power. When I simplify that, I get 8x to the what? Third. Okay? I multiply my numbers, I multiply my coefficient, and I add my exponents. When I multiply, I only have what? 1 times 1 times 1, then times 8 give me 8. So now then I add 2, and then 1 more, that's 3, and 3 here gives me 6. Now that gives me my leading coefficient. All right? So now, my degree represents what? The highest one, which is what? 6. So degree represents 6. and my leading coefficient is what? 8. All right?
Wait, the coefficient is next to the x, right?
Yes, sir. This is the coefficient right here. Okay? That's cool. Ask the question. Don't worry about that. Ask the question, because guess what? You better ask the question, somebody else need to know. Yes, sir, my brother. Excuse me, huh? How I get 8? Put in your guess calculator. I want you to do 2 and then cube.
And the degree is.
I need 2 to the third power. 2 to the third power. Yeah, 2 to the third power is what? 2 to the third power is 8. Good job. What do you use your calculator? All right. Now, yes, sir. Anything else about this?
And the exponent is always the degree.
Yes, sir. The exponent is always the degree. All right. Are we good on that? All right. Now, look at these series of questions it's asking you. In the past, we have given you a graph to let you see these things. The end behavior, the leading coefficient, all those things that you have to be able to turn. Now, we have turning points. When we talk about arms, what are we talking about? Are both arms up, both arms down, or one up, one down?
One up, one down.
Remember, we read them from left to right, okay? Now, roots, what do roots mean? Huh? Where it's touching or going through the what? X-axis, okay? Multiplicity, what does that mean?
When it bounces off.
When it bounces off the what axis? Good job.
Wait, don't do it. Wait.
Now to find out the turning points, one way of finding out the turning points without looking at a graph is, what is the degree of the polynomial? Degree of the polynomial? 6. So I can say the number of turnings will be at most 5. 1 less than the degree of the polynomial. Okay? Maximum you can get 5 turning points because the degree is 6. At max, it may be lesser than that one also, but at maximum you can get 5 turning points. And what about the arms? That is the behavior of the function, end behavior. So it is 6 and positive. Yeah, that is even, right? Even, and the leading coefficient is positive. So leading coefficient positive, exponent is even. You remember this?
Yeah.
So arms looks like what? Both arms goes up. What about the roots? Roots means where it crosses the x-axis, right? So to find out the roots, what you need to do is, in the given polynomial, you equal each factor to 0. Like x plus 2 equals 0. This is one factor. The other factor is x minus 1 to 0. And 2x plus 1 equals 0. Then what we get here? X equals negative 2. Add 1 on both sides. X equals 1. Here you subtract 1 first. 2x equals negative 1. Divide by 2. X equals negative 1 half. So how many roots we got here? 3. But at which point it is going to bounce back? Because you look at the first one, it bounces back at negative 2 on the x-axis. And at x equals 1 it goes through, right? When you have the multiplicity more than 2, it's parallel. That is, it is sluggish. What do you say that is? It goes through that point. Okay. Multiplicity. How do you talk about this multiplicity? So, what is the multiplicity we have here? 2. And what is the root we have? What is the root means? Negative 2. So, negative 2 has root of multiplicity 2. Next, negative 1/2 has a root of, what is the multiplicity here? How many times it is repeated? 3 times. Now, can you figure out the rough or an approximate graph for this one? Can someone can say? No? We'll see now. So, we know where it is passing through, right? Negative 2. So, let me say this is negative 2 and 1 and negative 1/2. So, let me say this is 1, negative 1/2 is somewhere here. Okay, we know that the ends of the graph, arms of the graph both goes up, right? So, at negative 2 you have a multiplicity, right? So, it bounces back. So, it comes from here and it bounces back, okay? And at negative 1/2, what is happening here? It is, multiplicity is 3 here, right? So, okay, again we have to come down here, sluggish here, it is not, here you see it is just bouncing back, but it is, here it is going through like this because the multiplicity is 3 and it passes through 1. So again it has to go back and passes through 1. Okay?
How would that be right though? You said both ends have to be up.
So negative 2, negative 1/2. So it should come like this, I think so. Otherwise we can do one thing, just wait. Speak loudly.
First you multiply your exponent by your variable in each one. So this would be x squared, this would be x cubed, and this would be 2x to the exponent of 2. You multiply this, so this would be 4x squared. And this would still stay the same. And then after that, you would add all 3 of your exponents together to get 4x to the 7th. So your leading coefficient would be 4, and your highest degree would be 7.
Right on there. Leading coefficient is 4. Questions? All of that good? If you have any questions. Okay. What is your x-intercept? Or x-intercept, can I say roots or solutions? All these are same. Remember this one. Sometimes the vocabulary, the words may be different, but all these are same. Okay? So x-intercept means what? Where the graph passes through x-axis, or the zeros, or solutions. This all leads to the same thing. Yeah, what do you do for this? Each factor to 0. So that is x plus 2 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0 and 2x plus 1 equals 0. I will pause for a minute, simplify this. Now it's recording.
Alright, so what you want to do is you want to subtract 2 on both sides for your first problem, and your first solution is going to be x equals -2. For your second one, you add 1 on both sides. The final answer becomes x equals positive 1. And for the last one, you want to subtract 1 both sides. You get 2x equals negative 1 divided by 2. And the final answer is going to come out as x equals negative 1/2.
So questions, you can ask any questions to this.
It was somehow.
Everybody got the same thing?
What about the orange?
Yes.
You gonna do the orange?
Okay, after this, what is the question you have? After turning points, zeros, you get your paper?
We want to do the arm.
Arms.
Yeah.
And behavior of the polynomial. You have to explain why.
So your arms is going to come out as, it's going to be positive with an odd exponent. So it's going to come out looking like,
You can erase that part, no problem.
huh?
Okay. Okay.
Positive and odd exponent. The left side goes up, the right side.
Think about that. Think about what you just did.
Yo, teacher Delon, when it be the
Oh, the
other
right side
way?
goes like this.
Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah, too.
Drew, what you say, Drew?
Shouldn't it be the other way? Man, money don't buy smarts, man.
Oh my God.
Hold up, wow, if it's positive, why would we do that?
Alright, we're gonna explain this to you in a second.
Yeah.
Alright? Now, how do we read graph? Trey, you just asked the question. How do we read graph? From left to right. Now, so that means our end behavior, they're gonna start us off what? From the negative going up to the what? Positive. How we know that one arm is going up? Because it's an odd what? Degree or exponent. Alright, how do we know it has to be going in the positive direction? Because of that because that 4 is positive, okay? Alright, that makes sense? Alright, good job, y'all.
And you can do the remaining problems also, you're doing good.
I know. Yeah.
Alright, pause it up.
Is your recording?
So,
Yeah, it's still recording.
and tomorrow you can see your visual chart. So when you equal x plus 2 to 0, you got x equals negative 2, right? So what we write here? Negative 2
I said multiplicity.
has a multiplicity
2.
2. Next step. When you solve the second factor, what we got is? 1. So x equals 1, right? So the 1 has 3. Very good.
Get this. Duh. Stay with me.
Next step. When you solve this one, what you got for x? So negative 1 half has a multiplicity of 2. So what we do here is, we equal x plus 1 to 0 and we solve for x, subtract 1 on both sides, which gives you x equals negative 1. Right?
Do it.
Now substitute x equals negative 1 in the given polynomial. So that is f of negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 to the 6th power plus 4 times negative 1 to the 5th power minus 4 Okay, what I am doing here, I am substituting x equals negative 1, or you plug in negative 1 for x, and I will pause for a minute here. So put everything at
Why do you gotta see us though?
okay.
Alright, here we go.
Now
You gotta answer.
Just record.
first we need to put this given polynomial in standard form. Standard form, right? So whether this is in the standard form, but you are missing some exponents here. What are the exponents you are missing?
Just ask.
Okay,
X to the fourth
x to the fourth power
plus 0 times x to the third power minus 7x squared plus 0 times x plus 12 equals 0.
Good job, man.
that is the first thing. What is your second step? So we have to identify your P and Q. Right? What is P here and what is Q? Very good. So your P is 12 and your Q is 1. So tell me the factors of P here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2,
Hey, come
Three.
on. Get right over there.
4, 6 and 12.
Yes, sir.
And what are the factors of Q?
1.
So what is P divided by Q?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus or minus the current ball. 5, 6, 7.
So which is?
4, 6, 4.
So what is your rational zeros?
Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 4.
How many roots we have?
Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12.
So we have 12 roots. But how many we need? 4. Okay. Now use synthetic division method.
So
1, 0.
1, negative 7, 1, 12.
No, oh.
Now try with 1.
1 versus 1 times
1, negative 1. So if 1 doesn't work, you try with negative 1 now. So this is 1, negative 1, negative 1 times negative 1.
What you mean it doesn't work? What are you talking
Negative
So this doesn't work. Now you try with the 2. Try with the 2 and negative 2.
That was a word. That means all the numbers.
Oh, snap.
Because you got 0.
Try with the 2.
So you gotta lose.
The first one that would work was 4, because 7 plus 4 is 12.
2 is working? Or no? 2 works?
Hey, Coach Mathis, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So this is 1. 1 times 2. 2. 0 plus 2. 2 times 2. Negative 7 plus 4. Negative 3 times 2. So it is negative 6. Negative 6 times 2. Yeah, we got 0 here.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying, I don't know. That is-
Next one.
Mr. Don, how many rows do you have?
4. What is the highest exponent we have?
4.
Epps, Estrada, Zion, Francis, Greenway, Harris, Hayes,
Here,
Frederick,
negative 2
Ingram.
plus 2 is what?
John.
Next one, negative 2.
Richard, Rob, Brianna, Wade, Wade, Walton, Williams, Bill, Oakland, Davis, Night. Shelby and Young.
0 times -2 is 0.
So this is x4, this is x3, this is x2, right? So we got x square plus 0 times x, we did not write, minus 3 equals 0. So add 3 on both sides. X square equals 3, x equals plus or minus square root 3. So what are those 4 values? We got it now. Positive 2, negative 2, positive square root 3 and negative square root 3. Questions?
Everybody get